Okay guys, so today we're going to talk about the last way to display data, which are box and whisker plots. Okay, so the reason yesterday was important before today's lesson is because box and whisker plots use the inner quartiles or the quartiles so that they can be created. Okay, so a box and whisker plot shows the variability of data along a number line. Okay, so this should make sense because if we're using the quartiles, which we can find inner quartile range, if we have them, that should make sense that it's showing variability because range shows variability in data. Okay, so variability refers to how much data points differ from each other, which makes sense because when we found range and inner quartile range, we take the difference of the values that we're talking about. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of break down what this is. So this is a box and whisker plot because you have a box and whiskers and a box and whiskers. Okay, so this middle line right here is your median. Okay, which means it's quartile 2. We remember that from yesterday. And this box is actually your inner quartile range. Okay, so the box is the inner quartile range. So what that means is this right here, the start of the box is quartile 1. The end of the box is quartile 3. And then these values out here, the whiskers, are going to be the range of your entire data. So this is going to be your highest number, and this is going to be your lowest number. Okay, so that's just kind of a breakdown of the box and whisker plot before we get too deep into it. Okay, so to make a box and whisker plot, you have to identify the quartiles. So when you're given data, you have to figure out what the quartiles are. And if you remember, quartiles divide data into 4 equal parts because of that quart in the beginning. Okay, the second quartile is the median of all the data. Okay, so that means the entire set of data, that second quartile is the median of all of it. We remember that from yesterday. And then the first quartile is the median of the lower half. And the third quartile is the median of the upper half. Okay, so if we want to make us a little note, we talked about up here that the start of the box is your first quartile. So under first, I'm just going to write start of box. And under third, I'm going to put end of box, because what that means is quartile 1 starts our box, quartile 3 ends our box, quartile 2 is right in the middle of it. Okay, so we can look at the box and we can read it, hopefully, but we actually have to create a box as well. Okay, and I'm actually going to go back up here because we said that the box was inner quartile range. I want to add over here that your whiskers are your regular range. Okay, so it's the range of your entire data. So that's why we have our high here and our low here, and we would take these two numbers and subtract them to get range. That's based off our whiskers, and then our box would be our inner quartile range, Q3 minus Q1. Okay, so step 1 to creating a whisker plot is going to be find the lower, middle, and upper quartiles of the set of data. Okay, step 2, on a number line, so this should say on, not 1. On a number line, mark the least and the greatest value. Okay, step 4, draw a box from the lower quartile to the upper quartile. Step 5, mark the median value with a vertical segment. All that means is mark it with a vertical line, a line going up and down. Step 6, draw whiskers from the box to the least and greatest values, okay? All right, so we're going to look at number 9, and thankfully they've already got our numbers in order from least to greatest. How nice of them, because we need to find our quartiles, okay? So step 1 says to find our quartiles. So if you remember talking about quartiles, we have to talk about the medians with the quartiles. So our data has to be in order from least to greatest, okay? So like I said, they've already done that for us. So first we want to find the median of the entire data. So those are gone. Move in one, move in one. So 5 is our median, which is quartile 2, okay? And then we want to find the median of our lower half. So we cover this up, and these two are gone, these two. So we're left with 2 as quartile 1. We cover this half up, and 7 and 10 are gone. So we're left with 9 as quartile 3. Okay? So the next thing that we want to do before we graph any of this on our number line is we want to find our lowest and our highest number. Because remember, we have to draw whiskers from the least and greatest values, and that's talking about the entire data set. So 1 would be our low, and 10 would be our high. Okay? So we want to go ahead and we want to graph these on the number line. So we're going to put 1 for our low, 10 for our high, and we're just putting dots above them, just like they did up here in the top. They put a dot for the low, a dot for the high, and a dot for each of the quartiles. So that's what we're doing down here in the bottom. And now for our quartiles, we have to put a dot at 2, a dot at 5, and a dot at 9. Okay? So we mark the least and greatest value. Oh, we skipped step 3 up here. We have to mark the quartiles. Sorry, guys. Okay, we did that. We marked our quartiles. And now it says draw a box from the upper, or from the lower quartile to the upper quartile. So this is our lowest quartile. This is our upper quartile. So we're going to draw a box connecting these. Okay? So the lower quartile would be Q1, and the upper quartile would be Q3. Okay? And now it says mark the median value with a vertical line segment. So it's just a vertical line. So the median was 5, so we're just going to put a vertical line right here with 5. And then the last step is to draw whiskers from the box to the least and greatest values. So from the box to the least value, from the box to the greatest value. Okay? And that is how you create a box and whisker plot. Okay? So now let's talk about what we can and cannot find with box and whisker plots. Okay? So we can find, and this is just by looking at a box and whisker plot. So we're not given any numbers or anything like that. We're just given the box and whisker plot. We can find the quartiles. We can find the median. We can find the inner quartile range, IQR, and we can find the range. Okay? What we cannot find is the mode or the mean. Okay, so we won't be able to tell if one particular value in the data occurs more times than anything else, and we will not be able to find the mean or the average, okay, because we don't know the exact values. We just know the lowest number, the highest number, the lowest or the middle of our lower end of the data, the exact middle of all the data, and the middle of the highest end of the data, the upper part, okay? So let's go ahead and find the inner quartile range and the range for this box and whisker plot here. So remember, the box is your IQR. So we want to find IQR by taking Q3 and subtracting Q1. So Q3 is going to be the end of the box, so 9, minus the beginning of the box, which is 2, so that gives us an inner quartile range of 7. Okay? And now we want to find the range, and if you remember, for range, we take the highest number, subtract the lowest number. So 10 is our high, 1 is our low, so we want to take 10 minus 1, which gives us a range of 9. Okay, and that's all there is to it. All right, so now we have our practice sheet right here. So for the first two, they want you to make a box and whisker plot, and for the bottom two, they want you to pull things from the box and whisker plot. Okay, but I want you to add to number 3. Not only do I want you to find the lower quartile, upper quartile, and the median, I want you to find the IQR and the range. And we're going to do that for both 3 and 4. Okay. And then going back up to number 1, we're going to have to create our number line. So we're going to have to number the number line. So we're going to need the number line to go from 0 to 25. Okay. And the second one, we're going to need it to go from 100 to 200. Okay, and if you notice with number 2, all of our values are in tens, so you can skip count by 10. Okay, looking at number 1, we have even and odd numbers, so you either need to count by 1s, or you could count by 2s, but just be sure that you correctly plot the dots on your number line if you count by 2s, okay? So go ahead and get started on that now.